Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone who's visited a town named Dulat in a land far, far away, welcome to the Wednesday Night Jokenet here on 146895. I am KE8PVL, your net control for the evening. My name is Nemo, November Echo Mike Oscar, and I am located in Denmark Township. Before I go any further, is there anyone that needs this repeater for emergency or priority traffic? Okay, nothing heard. If anybody does need the repeater for emergency or priority traffic, please break in at any time. With break and your call sign, we will gladly concede the repeater for the duration of your emergency. Again, this is the Wednesday Night Jokenet here on the 146895 repeater in Ashtabula County. This is a directed net and all traffic should go through net control. Everyone with a valid amateur radio license is encouraged to participate. No club affiliation is required. This net meets every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on this repeater, and the purpose of this net, generally speaking, is to have fun making each other laugh, coming up with crazy punchlines for this week's joke. This is a 3-round net, so please stick around or you may miss something. Before I go down the list of regular check-ins, let me just say this repeater is owned and operated by Tom, NHCT. It is available for public use. You can get to this repeater via RF, obviously, and the PL tone for the repeater is 141.3. There is an Echolink node for the repeater, and that is W8IJC-L. Please treat the repeater like it's got a 2-minute timeout and allow for clean breaks between transmissions. Other than that, we are good to go. I'm going to quick break for time, and then we'll go down the list of regular check-ins. We'll see who all is here tonight. All right, obviously we got the station ID. The tower is here. Thank goodness. Thank you again, Tom, for making sure that that's always up and running for us, especially in situations where we may need an emergency. All right, we'll start with the top of the list. KC8 LAR. Jeff, are you with us tonight? Okay, nothing heard there. Hopefully he's doing okay, and he'll be checking in with us a little later on. How about Dan, N8DRL?
N8DRL, Pierpont County 48 Gals, N8DRL.
All right, we got you checked in, Dan. Thank you for being here tonight. Always appreciate it. How about Ken out there in Andover, KE8YBN? All right, nothing heard there. How about we'll go to Wayne, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
Good evening, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
All right, Wayne, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. How about we'll go to Ruth Ann, KE8ZVO, and see if she's around. Okay, nothing heard there. Let's move on down the list. We'll go to K8TIE. Dave, are you with us tonight?
King 8, chair item easy. I am here. Good evening, Nemo. Good evening, Nat.
W8IJC Link.
Like 71 degrees now here in Cleveland Heights. A little bit cooler than earlier, and I'm wearing all short sleeves, which makes me a little bit cool. But I'm ready, and I'm starting to fill out my forms so that I'm ready for taking down the jokes and punchlines. KATI, back to net control.
All right, very good, Dad. Thank you for being here tonight. Always a pleasure to have you with us. We'll go down to Vito, Alpha Delta 8, Oscar India.
update as previous here.
All right, 88OI. Gotta have friends, and I'm assuming you've got a +1 with you there, so I'll mark you down for both. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. We'll go out to Drew, Alpha 8, Delta Lima.
I am happy to be present tonight, and I'm also standing by ready to copy down the joke.
All right, Drew, got you logged in there. We'll reach out to Sonny, see if he's with us tonight, KD8LHR. All right, well, hopefully he's doing okay, and maybe he's just out there working. We'll try Chris, KE8YQL. All right, well, let's try Jim, KE8LFR.
KE8LFR present. Well, for the first round anyway.
All right, Jim, thank you for being here tonight. Always a pleasure to have you on the radio with us. Glad you're able to take some time out from underneath some cars to be here tonight. And hopefully you'll be sticking around as long as you can. But if not, hopefully you'll be listening to the radio when you can't pick it up. All right, that's the end of the list as I have it. Is there anybody I might have missed or anybody who wants to check into the Wednesday Night Jokenet? Please call KE8PVL.
KE8YVN, check it in.
KE8YBN, Ken, good to have you with us tonight, sir. Glad you checked in. Man, I didn't miss you. I know I called out, but maybe I didn't give you enough time to respond via Echolink. That's okay. We got you in the log. Thank you for being here tonight. Anybody else? All right, nothing heard. Well, thank you, folks, for being here tonight. This is KE8PVL. This is the Wednesday Night Jokenet, and we'll get into this week's joke. This week's joke is, what do onions and ogres have in common? This week's joke, what do onions and ogres have in common? And, wow, we'll go out to Vito, and we'll put him in the hot seat tonight. So, Vito, 88OI, thank you for being here. And what do onions and ogres have in common?
All right, thanks for putting me in the hot seat. I'm going to have to say my elder says they both make you tear up. And then the only other thing I can think of would be they have many layers.
All right, very good. Got you in there with both those answers. Thank you for the +1 on that. All right, we'll go down to Drew, Alpha 8, Delta Lima. Thank you for being here tonight. And what do onions and ogres have in common?
Yeah, similar to what Vito and company said. If you dice them alive, someone's going to be crying.
All right, good answer. If you dice them alive, okay, well, I don't know if I could say that on the radio. We'll say it anyway. Someone's going to be crying. We'll go down to Jim, KE8LFR. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. What do onions and ogres have in common?
can't stand onions, and I've never seen an ogre, so I don't know. You got me. K8LFR, back to net.
All right, very good. I like my onions fried. Personally, I don't like a lot of raw onions. Chives aren't so bad. How about it, Ken? K8YBN. What do onions and ogres have in common?
Cheers are us. Yeah, try that one.
All right, they cause a lot of tears for everybody. And we'll go to Dan, N8DRL. Dan, good to have you with us, sir. And what do onions and ogres have in common?
I really don't have a clue. You get your first time for your N8DRL.
All right, 2 stumpers actually there, because I think Jim said he would be counted as a stumper. So I'll take 2. We'll try Wayne. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet. What do onions and ogres have in common?
They both can be green.
All right, they're both green and really tall, some of them. Okay, very good. How about it, Dave? Dad, K8TIE, good to have you with us. What do onions and ogres have in common?
He stole my answer, but I was going to do the same thing. They both come in green. So we've got 2 of them in green now. K-A-T-I-E, back to that control.
All right, and we all know it's not easy being green. Oh, wait, that's a different one altogether. It doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about tonight. Maybe we'll pull that one out of the books for another net. How about? All right, that's rounds out the list as I have it. This is KE8PVL on the Wednesday Night Joke Net. Before I get into the actual answer, is there anybody that wants to check in? Please call. All right, nothing heard there, so we'll go ahead with the answer. Tonight's joke, what do onions and ogres have in common? My answer is they have layers. What do onions and ogres have in common? They have layers. But they also need friends. If they had friends, that would be a good one too. Really tall, I guess I would have taken that one too. There's a few of them that would have fit in there, and some of them big and green. That works too. And cheers everybody up. I've never chopped an ogre up and ate it, but onions I've done plenty of. All right. That's the answer I got, though. They have layers. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Appreciate it. I'm going to get into some announcements, and then we'll get into why everybody's really here. Only a couple quick ones and the usual ones for sure. We're talking about the Aries District 10 Ashtabula County Emergency Services Training Net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. That's 146895. This repeater right here that we're all talking on, negative offset, PL tone of 141.3, and an Echolink node of W8IJC-L. And I can't stress enough the importance of emergency services. As much as I want to do more, I've got so many irons in the fire like many of us do, but please check into that net and consider being a regular participant in the Aries group. All right, Ashtabula County Amateur Radio Club's weekly net is every Thursday night over on the 146-715 repeater located over there in beautiful downtown Jefferson. That has a negative offset and a PL tone of 141.3 and an Echolink node of NHCT-L. Hey everybody, guess what? Coming up here on July 19th is Ashtabula County Hamfest. That's going to be at 1809 Middle Road from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. I've gotten people asking me about it, telling me that they're coming, so we're going to have a good time one way or another. And that's in Pierpont, Ohio. So please, everybody, make some time to come out and check out the Hamfest. At the very least, we'll get you a hamburger, and there'll be some people there to buy, sell, trade, swap radio stuff, probably, because that's what we do at Hamfest. All right, yeah, July 19th, please don't forget, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Bring the kids. There's a playground. There's a bunch of stuff going on there with homemade ice cream. The Amish guys are coming with the baked goods, all that. So we'll get it going on there one way or the other. All right, very good. That's all the announcements I got. Let me take a quick break for time. We'll get into why everybody's really here. All right, starting off here, we're with the man in the hot seat, Vito, Alpha Delta 8, Oscar India. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. Always a pleasure. What do you got for the group tonight?
Here. Well, I guess the biggest news is my granddaughter turned 1 yesterday. Had a nice little birthday party for her over at my daughter's house, and yeah, that was a good time. Other than that, same thing as every week, getting ready for Morse code classes and just trying to relax. That acting that.
W8IJC link.
All right. Well, relaxing after a long day is a very good thing, obviously. And, well, man, I'm glad you had a chance to meet out with her with your grandkid and celebrate her first birthday. It's priceless, those times, so value them and cherish them as best you can. All right. We'll go to Drew. Alpha 8, Delta Lima, thank you for being here tonight, sir. And what do you got for the group?
Well, I did my first POTA rove, I guess Monday, which is 2 and 5 parks with at least 10 activation or 10 contacts at each park in one day, one UTC day. So that was kind of cool. I tried doing that once before and got through like 2 parks, and the bands were so horrible that I just called it. And they weren't really great on Monday, but I was able to get it done, especially in large part due to the fact that there was a lot of guys who were finalizing that 13 Colonies event. So I got a couple guys, I got their like Kilo 2 Alpha as well as their personal call. So, but it was tough. It was almost didn't get it done. It was like begging people at the end there. Let me break. But the good thing is over there in Northwest Ohio, I was over in Northwest Ohio doing this, and also Michigan. Everything's real close together. I mean, they are so lucky if you're into POTA. They've got, you can do roves like nothing because everything is super close together out that way. Somebody actually called or sicked the park ranger on me because I guess I look suspicious with my 17-foot whip stuck on top of my Nissan, sitting there talking on the radio. But I guess in this day and age, everybody's got the if you see something, say something attitude. Let me break one final time. So that actually got me my first 10 parks overall, which is another award which I'd been shooting for. So anyways, and another thing, I just got my FT8 back up and running. I don't know what had happened, but for the longest time I could hear, but I couldn't transmit. I finally ended up uninstalling it a couple times. I don't know what happened, but it's working now. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it keeps working. So anyhow, that's what I've got. Nice hearing from all you guys. Send it back to Net Control, Alpha 8, Delta Lima.
All right. Well, we do have an issue with that in the not just with POTA activations, but just in general with people putting calls in, and then the people on the other end of that call, the 911 calls, they don't follow up. They just take a call and they spit something out. It's like they're like part of the machine, you know. It's there should be a level of common sense where is that person doing something illegal that is being called in on, and if the answer is no, then they should be left alone. That's my opinion on that. But hey, congratulations on the 5 parks in a row. I appreciate you doing that, man. That's a great thing any day of the week, especially out here. I feel you on all our parks being so spread out. There's really only 3 really good ones in Ashtabula County, and there's a 20-minute drive between most of them. So I feel you on that. All right, we'll go down the list here. We'll keep on going. Jim, KE8 LFR, good to have you with us tonight, sir. What do you got for the group?
Evening, everybody. Excuse me. That's pretty much the same stuff, Nemo. Work at home, and then the wife decided to put a 30 by 15 pool in our backyard. So, just had, 8 tons of sand delivered? Got it leveled, and this weekend is the pool. With that, we'll turn it back to Ned. KE8 LFR.
Well, you got your work cut out for you there. I hope you got a tamper. I suggest at least a hand tamper. If you could go rent a power tamper, that might help you out a little bit too. And remember to bank the inside walls. Get yourself a good 6-foot level too, and remember to bank the inside walls once you got the sides up. That's my only advice I can give you. Other than that, I don't know nothing about it. But good luck on setting that up, man, and hopefully it'll go together good for you, and it won't be a big pain in the rear, if you know what I mean. All right, we'll keep on going down the list here. We'll go to Ken, KE8YBN. Good to have you with us tonight, sir, out of Andover there. What do you got for the group?
Not a whole lot. Had a surprise visitor tonight. A friend of mine was told to stop by and look at his lawnmower that's sitting outside for a year or so. Won't start. Wonder why. So I got that little project to work on. Other than that, stay inside where it's not going to get wet. Back to net.
Well, it's not raining up this way, sir, so hopefully it blows over down there if that's what's happening, and you don't get wet. Just good luck on getting that running. Sometimes you just need to blow out the gas lines, shoot the carburetor, and give it a good yank on the cord, turn the starter over. Sometimes that's all it takes, and it'll fire right up for you. All right, we'll go up to Dan, N8DRL. How's things down at the campground, sir?
Interesting today, the went and picked up a firewood processor where you load it up, it cuts it, and push it through, cuts it all the same length, and splits it all on one fluid motion. Pretty interesting piece of equipment. Hey, DRL back in that control.
Well, I've seen videos of those online on YouTube and other places, and man, I'll tell you what, that would be a dream up here for me. I got my processing down pretty well, but to just be able to limb up a tree and send it through a machine would be amazing. I've got plenty of them to do it with too. So those are not cheap, that's for sure. That's a significant investment. I hope it pays off for you guys down there at the campground, man. I'm sure it will. Everybody camping always needs firewood. All right, we'll keep on going. Wayne, Alpha, Charlie 8, Yankee, Juliet, good to have you with us tonight, sir. And what do you got for the group?
Good evening, everybody. been doing a lot of POTA lately. Congratulations, Drew, for getting your stuff done. I just found out today, I was looking at some maps of Palm-and-Tuming, and on the Pennsylvania side, by the south, causeway in Pennsylvania, not the one that goes 85 into Pennsylvania, not the big one, but the southern one over south of Linesville. That's part of two. It's part of two parks. It's the wildlife park and the state park. You have to look it up. I don't have it open on my computer right now, but I'm going to go over there tomorrow morning and activate both of them. And there's also a park down. If you go down there, Nelson Kennedy Ledges. It's about 45 minutes south of Geneva. You can go to 3 parks within 15 minutes. They're not connected, but I've done that, and I was able in and out of there in 3 hours between the 3 parks, so you can get that done. Other than that, though, I've just been going out and doing a lot of POTA. Nothing much else going on. The bands have been horrible, but I'm still going out there. You ain't gonna get any parks if you stay at home. That's about it for right now. I'll send it back to net control. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
All right, very good, and congratulations on those POTA parks there, Wayne. And yeah, absolutely, Nelson Ledges, I believe, is it's state park. It's registered on the POTA site, and also Punderson is right down the road from that. That's on the POTA site, and I believe Auburn Lake is also part of the POTA system too. Those are all fairly close together, but being the largest county in the state, pretty much, Ashtabula is definitely spread out, but it does help to have 1 or 2 parks that you can hit, like 2-for-1s, so to speak. All right, we'll keep on going though. We'll reach out to Cleveland Heights. Dad, K8TIE, good to have you with us tonight, sir. What do you got?
Well, my grandson from Hawaii, Noah, no H on the end, is coming up to Cleveland. He's going to be arriving somewhere around July 17th. I'm going to send him some texts and see if he's going to stay long enough to come out to the Hamfest. Could be an interesting thing. He has seen some amateur radio stuff down there in Hawaii. It seems to have possibly caught his interest. So it might be a very good introduction to him. And I could also show up out there to take my general test. So these are the things that I'm kind of looking at for that weekend or period of time in July. K8TIA. Back to net control.
W8IJC link.
All right, very good. Well, that might work out really well for you there, especially if you get them to work out the transportation thing with you on the way over here. That might make it pretty easy. And of course, you guys are welcome to camp out here for the evening, maybe Friday. I think I have a few things I got to take care of that Friday, but just getting stuff over there or whatever. I'll be doing a lot of running around the day before, that's for sure. But it'll be good to see them. And Hawaii's a big hop for most of us, even on the HF side there. So, it can be done. Absolutely, it can be done, and people get it. But it's one of them ones you look for on a regular basis, for sure. All right, I think that rounds out the list as I have it, because I see Vito would be next on the list, and since we already talked to him, we'll take a quick break for time. Actually, we'll call out one more time for anybody who wants to check into the Wednesday Night Jokenet before we move into the discussion round. So please call KE8PVL. Okay, nothing heard. Well, So tonight I wanted to just touch base with a few things. Mostly the importance of areas. Now I have not done this for this one, and nobody has come to me and said anything about it. Although I do know some folks in Texas, they're not in that area. But we all, I'm sure, are aware that July 4th we had an issue over there in Texas where there was some huge flooding that took place, and it's been kind of tragic. It's not as big as what happened in North Carolina. The response has been completely different, but the amateur radio community has stepped up yet again, and immediately went into action over in Hill County where the Texas floods had hit. So good for them. Aries and the amateur radio emergency services groups deployed in that area. Their volunteers jumped into action right away on July 4th in response with with local agencies, federal agencies, the Red Cross. They jumped right in there. Some of the stuff that they've been doing, aside from health and welfare checks, is they've been providing communication support for search and rescue teams. They've been providing communication support for logistic teams. They've just been doing it all, and helping out, especially in the areas where again, normal everyday power and amenities are not there. Skywar Network was up and running, and they're supplying real-time on-the-ground reports to the National Weather Service as usual, which is also especially helpful at this particular moment. So, man, good plus to them. And when I give the announcement for the Aries group, I know I don't get in there as much as I'd like to, and I don't do it as much as I'd like to because I have my hands in a lot of fires. But I always say I'm deployable, despite whatever else is going on, if there's an emergency. So I at least would like to think that that's the case. Anyway, so, but good on ya, mates, so to speak, to the ham radio operators that are over there. There is a list of public emergency channels, public emergency frequencies that are out there, both for 3 and 2. So those are listed. I had them in front of me a minute ago, but something happened, and I don't know what it was. But it just goes to show the importance of amateur radio in every community. We could have that here. Let me break for time. Even here, there's the Perry drill that we do every year, and some of the surrounding counties, they kind of have their stuff together with the Skywarns and all that. There's regular Skywarn nets in Geauga County whenever there's strong emergency storm situations. So it's a valuable part of amateur radio, and I'm glad that there's enough of us out there to do it and participate in it, that we could be there to help when times get tough. All right, so that's what I was talking about today, and we'll just get some thoughts on it. And of course, my condolences and prayers go out to everybody who hasn't made it through those floods. But especially thank you to the amateur radio operators and those out there just on the front lines, first responder teams that are doing everything they can. Everything has been getting done by the book over there as best they can, and the response has been great. So anyway, that's what I've got to say about it. We'll start going down the list here. We'll see what everybody else has to say about that situation, what they know. All right, we'll start off right where we left off. Vito, Alpha Delta 8, Oscar India. What are your thoughts? Ham radio, Texas flood, and the emergency services guys. Alpha Delta 8, Oscar India. Vito, are you still with us? Well, I think it's a little early for his CW class, but we'll circle back to him in a little while anyway. I'll put a little star next to his name so I know to call on him again. How about Jim, KE8 LFR? Have you been paying attention to what's going on down there in Texas? All right, nothing heard there. He must have taken off. I know he's got to go do some cab like driving for the family there quite often, right around this time. So that's all right. It's probably what he's doing right now. How about we'll go to the top of the list. We'll go to Dan. We'll go to Ken, KE8 YBN. Your thoughts? Have you been paying attention to what's been going on with amateur radio and the floods in Texas?
Yes, I agree. It's definitely a needed aspect, the value of a tool to use down there for sure. I'm sure there's places they do very well, but to use to help people out there for sure. Yeah. Back to you, Ned.
All right, very good, absolutely, and again, I appreciate all them folks doing what they're doing. We'll go to Drew, Alpha 8 Delta Lima. Are you still with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm still here, and like you, I'm not trained in any of the area stuff, but definitely would consider myself deployable. Pretty much always have all bands more or less in my Jeep, or at least right by my Jeep. I just don't know how much that would play into things these days. With, the agencies have their own comms, and I'm not sure how much they would need people, or how much people end up stepping on each other's frequencies and such. So I don't know. I'm sure it's got its place. I just don't know exactly what place that is. I do like listening to the Sky Warn during storms. I think that's very informative, very interesting, and you can just like listen and kind of tell as the storm's coming at you. Let me break real quick. But yeah, this thing in Texas, man, you think you drop your kids off at camp, it's going to be great. I used to go to Camp Fitch. I'm sure some of you guys might have as well, just over the border in Pennsylvania. We used to go every week at the YMCA camp. Great. I mean, this is an awesome thing for kids to do. So many kids don't get those kind of experiences, and they're stuck looking at their screen all the time and not getting any kind of outdoor or nature experience. And it's just so tragic that, you're doing everything right by your kids, and they're living the perfect childhood, and then bam, the water rises like 30 feet in a few hours, which is practically biblical. Crazy stuff, and my heart goes out to everybody affected by it. So I'll send it back to net control. Alpha 8 Delta Lima.
Absolutely, man. I never went off to summer camps, but I spent lots of summers camping quite a bit, and that's a worthwhile experience to have. And in my older teenage years, in early 20s, I was doing a lot of survival camping and just big hikes. When I lived in Washington State, I actually spent 2 weeks in the mountains just by myself. So, I had brought food and everything with me, but that's one of the things I did. It was great. Loved doing it, building shelters, all that stuff. You got to figure that out as a kid. A lot of people live in the cities and they think it doesn't apply, but I lived in a tent in the middle of wintertime in the middle of Cleveland, and if I didn't have some of the survival training and some outdoor activities stuff, I wouldn't have been able to make that work quite the way I did. All right, and neither would anybody else in the group that I was with. Hey, anyway, we'll keep on going. Dan, any DRL? Good to have you with us if you're still here, sir. What are your thoughts? You've been paying attention to what's going on in Texas and the ham radio community. Well, maybe he went and secured his station. I know a lot of times this time of day he's pretty whooped. So we'll keep on going. We'll go down to Wayne, Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet, amateur radio in Texas floods. Man, have you been paying attention to that?
I've been paying attention a little bit. Basically, I mean, ham radio. It's every time people say that they don't need it anymore, they turn out they need it. It's slowly the governments or agencies are getting better, more solid communications. Maybe 20, 30 years from now, they won't need us too much, at least for what we're doing using VHF and UHF and HF. But there's other ways we can communicate. We just have, if the ham, in my opinion, is if the ham community wants to get more involved with that, they have to work on more technologies, maybe microwave or something like that, because virtually almost all your public agencies, except for road departments and stuff like that, all use, trunking services and all that other stuff. They're not even, hardly anybody's on, VH or UHF anymore. So it's just, we'll always have a place. It's just, we're going to have to adapt to it. It still works somewhat now. Other than that, that's about it. Alpha Charlie 8, Yankee Juliet.
All right, very good. Well, I know that almost right away when the emergency took place on the fort there, that the area's operators went in and they were immediately embedded with the SARS team, the search and rescue operations guys, and there wasn't even a question about whether they were going to be needed or not. They just sent them. I know when we talk about when it's needed and what's needed, when North Carolina happened last year, and I peripherally participated in that by making calls for folks that I knew up here that were not amateur radio operators and passed traffic down to North Carolina through their nets, and even into Florida when the Florida hurricane hit, I did that too. That was a welcome thing to have happen, and it was needed. So, and you're talking about especially down there. When you say what was needed, what wasn't needed, well, it was amateur radio operators that got on the backs of donkeys and climbed up mountains to find out who needed to be rescued from their places and who could stay for a little while longer. Texas is not mountainous like North Carolina, but same kind of deal. When Katrina came through, amateur radio operators were there helping with the marine traffic and search and rescue operations there. I'm sure it's much the same way. All right, we'll keep on going down the list here. We'll go to Dave, K8TIE. Good to have you with us tonight, Dad. Ham radio operators in the Texas floods. Have you been paying attention to that?
Have been, and yes, there's a lot of clickbait out there on the podcasts and stuff, but they could really have used some sort of dangerous flash flood warning sirens there. That was one thing that they were really missing, because you don't listen to your cell phone at the minute 4 in the morning for warnings, and the warnings should have been Actually, by late afternoon, I think they probably had some predictions here and there that it was possible or likely, but they didn't have any sirens to get people up and then out of the way, of harm's way, in the middle of the night or late in the evening when they really knew it was going to be bad. And that is possibly laid at a number of people's feet. At one or two places I've looked, it would not have been even that expensive. And all they had to do was get out of the way one little flood path, and but it just hit, and they didn't know it. There were no sirens or anything like that, and that was one of the things that I kind of feel was the biggest shortcoming for fast warnings. It's great for it to run through amateur radio. It's great for showing up on the TV screen, but who's got his TV screen on at 4 in the morning? You know, so they really need some sort of thing. There's supposedly a fire siren thing around even Cleveland Heights or something like that. Although I know less about that here. But down there it was terrible because that just comes right in off the Gulf. And it was dry, so the ground wasn't absorbing the water at all. Just kind of my comments, and I pray for the people that have to wait for the second coming, so to speak, to get their life back together. KATIE, back to net control.
W8IJC Link.
All right. Well, I definitely feel you on some of that. Absolutely. I mean, to some extent, there's only so much precautions you can take. If you put yourself on the side of a mountain, you put yourself on the side of a mountain. And if that happens to be Mount St. Helens that you're climbing up, there's no warning siren there to warn you that it's going to blow again. You know, we live in Ashtabula County. We've got sirens here for tornadoes, I believe, is the only thing it really warns us about or talks about. But if there was some freak tsunami that came off of Lake Erie and hit us, we wouldn't know. There's a risk with everything you do, and camping is a risk. And I'm not saying that it's any particular one person's fault. I'm not blaming the poor people that had it happen. I mean, if you're climbing a mountain and you fall off the side of a mountain, I feel bad for you, but you also took the risk there to do that. So, I mean, there's a balance, and, you know, there's a whole lot to that particular aspect of it. So, but it's just sad when something happens. I know people that would say, oh, they did it to themselves, but not me, because they put themselves in that spot. But, I just can't say that myself. I can say that you go into those situations knowing that there's a risk, and that's part of the reason why you go in, and maybe part of the reason why you go into those situations. But freak natural disasters is not something you can really count on and or predict necessarily with enough time to do anything about it. I mean, just look at tornadoes. Yes, you can have a tornado watch, but you're not going to know when that rotation starts until it starts. So, I mean, that's kind of the way it is with some of that stuff. And I feel really bad for everybody that is not on this planet, so to speak, anymore. That's the result of what happened there, that's for sure. All right, that's rounds out the list as I have it. But more importantly on that note, our amateur radio, our fellow ham radio operators are doing a great job down there and really trying to make sure that things happen correctly. And I really appreciate that from all of them. All right, this is K8PVL. Before we go any further, is there anybody that would like to check in or anybody that would like to recheck? Please call. Okay, I heard somebody in there that said recheck, I think, but they didn't come through all the way because there was a station ID on top of them. So come again. Okay, maybe there wasn't. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on it and let everybody get on with their evening. Appreciate y'all being here tonight. Of course, I couldn't do this net without you, and I'd just be sitting here kind of bored. Well, no, I would be sitting here kind of bored. All right. Tom, NHCT, thank you for letting us use this repeater every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And also all those people currently in service and retired from service to our country. Your sacrifices will not be forgotten because it's things like what's happening in Texas right now that we have you out there doing that stuff, and I appreciate that. All right, this is K8PVL. I'm going to go ahead and return the repeater back over to normal amateur radio use, whatever that might be. Be good to each other, everybody. K8PVL is clear.